Hello my friends, it's Monday. Happy Monday to you and welcome back. We begin today's video with a funny but a little bit sad chart because look at this. This is my subscribers chart and this is exactly the point of the video where I spoke my mind about Trump and his government of America, calling them fascists, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, a bunch of fascists. I call them that and boom, I've been losing subscribers like crazy. They are leaving my channel and this means the pain has already been inflicted. Means I can now speak the truth because there's no going back. I'll call them what it is and I'll speak my mind, and if somebody don't like it, well, it's already started, so I'll continue doing it. Also, other side, the people who actually like it have decided to support my channel, which really makes me happy, and it really gives me impression that there are people who fight against this crazy fascism. I want to read the names of these people because they are brave and they're the foundation of this channel. We have Tarell Martin, Paul Savides, Brian Doroshuk, Neil Dotsvortk, Louise Soler, Kathleen Gordon and Clifford D. Caseley. They all joined yesterday and the day before that, so thank you my friends. If you like what I do, buy me a coffee, link is in the description below. Become a monthly member and I'll be sending you a patch for thank you and I'll be butchering your name. We jump immediately to Kursk front lines. You know the Kursk salient that Ukraine grabbed 1,000 square kilometers and that Russia has been trying to push back for the last 6 months. People say Ukraine is retreating, Russia is advancing, and that's a huge loss for Ukraine. I mean, look at them not being able to hold the territory. And I still say Ukrainian Kursk operation has been a resounding success. You know why? Even though they are trading land for Russian losses, they are retreating, it means Russia has been forced to redirect almost 100,000 troops, techniques, drones, every capability they have to that Kursk, to push out Ukrainians from the motherland. These 100k Russian troops could be wreaking havoc in southern or eastern Ukraine, but now they have to fight in Russia. It has always been for Ukraine not to take Kursk 1,000 square kilometers, but to force Russian troops to be sent there, not to Ukraine. And for that it has been a resounding success. But yet the true situation is, I think that Ukrainian military leadership is preparing to pull out from Russia now because they have fulfilled their purpose, maximizing Russian losses, trading that for territory, and it has been a trump card, pun intended, for the negotiations that are supposed to follow now, because Putin cannot make any kind of peace deal with Trump even if he wants to, when Ukrainians control Kursk. So it has been a resounding success. But the center of it all is Sudža, the central city, central supply hub, and also gas supply hub, because the Druzhba pipeline that was the last operating pipeline from Russia to the EU, it was operating a few months ago actually, half a year ago, is going through Sudža. It's the middle of the Kursk salient for Ukrainians. Now Russians thought, okay, we're pushing the Ukrainians out, but not fast enough. We gotta do something different. And what they do? Well, here you can, on this tweet, you can see one of the Russian drone operators in Kursk, one of the more famous ones, asking for gas masks, oxygen tanks for tomorrow. And anybody who asks why will get banned immediately. And also we have Alaudinov, the leader of the Kadyrov troops, TikTok forces in the same area, saying that they have a surprise for Women's Day for Russian women. Both of these guys kind of announcing that something big is coming. Well, so much for Russian OPSEC. What was it that was coming? Well, I'm glad you asked. Russians sent 100 or close to that troops into the Druzhba pipeline. 1.4 meters in diameter. You gotta crouch down. And these guys, we have all videos of it, you can see it on the screen. These guys marched inside that pipeline for 15 clicks, 15 kilometers, and they were trying to exit in Sudža behind Ukrainian lines to surprise them from the rear. But you know, it was their rear ends who were getting the pounding because all of this time, all of this planning, Ukrainian recon drone was up in the air. You can see the videos on the screen. They exactly knew where the Russians went into the pipeline and where they exited. And after they exited, cluster munitions started raining hell down upon them, tearing up their rear ends instead of the Russians tearing up Ukrainian rear ends. I mean, it turned on them. Also, why the oxygen tanks? Because Druzhba pipeline is a gas pipeline. There is, and what a surprise, there was a massive buildup of CO2 and methane. Well, those two gases not good for the human body if there's not enough oxygen. A lot of the guys in that pipeline, a lot of the Russian troops suffocated and got CO2 poisoning. That means too much CO2 in the bloodstream. So it was a massive failure. First of all, Ukrainian drones immediately knew what was going on. Secondly, they went in, half of the guys without gas masks and oxygen tanks, suffocating. And thirdly, when they got out of that Druzhba pipeline, they were immediately getting hammered and destroyed. 80% of them immediately KIA from the cluster munitions. So, and the cherry on top of it is that Yoiu and the Russian drone operator actually pretty much announced that mission one day before it happened. So, yeah, a resounding failure. And for me, a funny story to tell you. Now, in this video, my friends, we can see a Russian locomotive being burned. And it's not an isolated event. Russia is so big, so vast. It's one of their greatest strengths and it's one of the biggest weaknesses because they don't really like to pay for security, and the areas that should be secured and guarded are so vast that it's just easier to take the money instead of paying for security. It's easier to take the money instead of putting up fences. So for a Russian opposition teenager, whoever you are, it's kind of easy to just go in, find a train, locomotive that is on top of or ahead of just some wagons that seem to be full of military stuff. That's all the intelligence you need. You go to that train, nobody's guarding it, you open up the engine room with a hammer or with a screwdriver, whatever it's necessary. You pour in some flammables, as you can see from the video, and poof, it spontaneously combusts. It's beautiful. And in this another video, you can see how the guy prepares. Put some penoplast in a huge bottle, some oil, some gasoline, and boom, you get yourself a spontaneous combustion fluid. Beautiful. He poured it on the train, on the locomotive, and that locomotive is out. And if you know about the Russian logistics, railway logistics, they are under enormous pressure. They're lacking hundreds, if not thousands, of locomotives that work. They're burning down these ones. Very painful. And finally, I have an article here that says it all. I mean, we have Trump saying the Russian talking points, Trump saying that Ukraine is getting pounded. Yes, I'm not blind, I'm not stupid. Ukrainian cities are being bombarded almost daily by Russian drones and missiles. Ukrainian front lines are being pounded by Russian glide bombs and drones. And I'm still saying this after seeing all of the Ukrainian losses, that Russia is losing the war of attrition. This is what I see on the battlefield. Russian oil refineries are burning. This war is financed by these Russian oil refineries. They're burning for the last 2 years almost, taking tens of millions, close to $1 billion in the end, tens of billions out of the Russian war machine. Secondly, Ukraine is retreating, yes, and Russia is advancing. But you don't gotta ask, okay, they're losing this village or this village. You gotta ask, at what cost? And the cost is enormous for Russia, enormous. They cannot be paying this in the long term. And this is what war of attrition always is, long-term effects. And that's where everything points to Russia losing this war. This is why I have always also seen the Kursk operation for Ukrainians as a resounding success in the war of attrition sense, because it forces the enemy to send their elite troops and attention to an area that you want them in. A kill box, which Kursk has been for the Russians. Massive losses. All right, my friends, now the fun begins, because we're gonna go to United States. And before I was a little bit afraid. I didn't want to talk about United States internal politics. I was afraid people might leave my channel. Well, the exodus is already happening. The pain has been inflicted. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna rip the United States internal politics half apart, because there's nothing they can do to me anymore. We're gonna begin with Trudeau. Now, I'm not sure if he's prime minister anymore. I know he's on his way out, but still what he says in this video, I don't want to waste your time, so I just get to the point. He says that if he was the United States' enemy, let's say China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, what he would love to see the most is United States behaving exactly how they're behaving. Trump behaving exactly how he's behaving. Attacking enemies, destroying the current system and the world order, United States-led world order, and attacking the trust built up by the US in the last, let's say, century, just ripping that apart. If I was Kim Jong-un, if I was Khomeini, I would be really happy to see that now. And that's what's happening. And by the way, Canada is not a rollover. Trump started a trade war on Canada, expecting them to meet in the middle. You know, that's his negotiation tactic. You hit them hard, then you pull back and, you know, you meet in the middle. Canada, you don't meet in the middle. Don't mistake Canadian politeness for weakness. This is Ontario Premier announcing 25% tariffs on exported electricity to the United States. 1.5 million Americans now will be paying quarter more for electricity starting Monday, today. Boom, just like that. It's a reaction to Trump's foreign policy. And Trump was elected because he promised better economy for inside the US, better egg prices, better everything. Make America first, America great again. And now 1.5 million Americans are expected to pay from today 25% more on electricity just because they're importing it from Canada. So what they say, don't shit where you eat, right? United States is not strong alone. They're strong because they have great friends. Mexico and Canada are these great friends. To attack them is just to take a shotgun and shoot both your legs off. This is what I see right now happening in the US. By the way, who was the one that signed the deal that Trump is always saying, oh, it's so bad? Who signed it? The trade deal between Mexico, Canada and the US. Who signed that horrible deal? Well, here, my friends, you can see a video from 2018. Who was it? It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Trump himself. He signed the deal. He signed the trade deal. And I know it's just a continuation of the NAFTA deal. And don't get me started on the history. I mean, it was there before. Trump just made it even better. But the thing is, he could have turned it around back then. He didn't. He decided to go more deeper into it, relaxing restriction on United States, Canadian and Mexican trade. He was the one who signed that reality into effect. So I guess he is shooting himself in the foot in the past. I don't know. He's crazy. And we'll end that topic with a beautiful video from one of United States orange farms. You know, orange trees, oranges need to be picked. They can be smushed into juice or jam or whatever Americans like to consume. The thing is, these oranges have always been picked, almost always, by immigrants. Half of the time, illegal immigrants, because no American wants to do that job. Trump supporters, Trump electors sometimes say, they took our jobs, right, these immigrants, and they did. And now they're gone, and nobody picks the oranges. Why? Because no American is ready to work for that amount of money. No American is ready to work for that amount of hours. And the owners of these farms, I watched a few interviews with them. They say, right, now we have an opportunity for Americans to take their jobs back. And they have been hiring Americans. And they say what? The owners say what? They say they're horrible workers. Americans cannot do these jobs, these low-paying, long hours, like these bottom jobs. Americans don't want to do. And even if they do it horribly. They don't want to work these hours. They complain. They want more money, more benefits. America was built by the slaves. Their system, America, in the last century has been built by immigration workforce. That's what makes it cheap. That's what made the American dream happen. Cheap eggs and cheap orange juice connected with what cheap avocados and cheap lumber from Canada. All cheap to build in America. Now that's gone. One of the main pillars, imported workforce, is gone. You cannot do that. The whole system relies on it. But Americans elected Trump, so I guess they want to feel what it would like to feel it, to not have it, to play the game that it's other people's fault. It's the immigrants' fault. It's European Union's fault. We have been paying for. Well, let's play that game through. Let's see it. They have 4 years, actually. Americans have 4 years. The effect will be felt strongly in 4 years. And I say it will be a massive disaster for the United States economy. Let's take wood, for example. Trump just imposed massive tariffs, 25% from imported Canadian wood. The goal of these tariffs, in Trump's words, have always been to relocate foreign factories into America, to get, jobs in America, wages, money, everything back to America. You cannot relocate forests. America builds houses. They do it very good with Canadian lumber.
Why should we be buying lumber from other countries?
Because that's where the trees are. These different colors are different kind of trees, and what you need to know is that this is the kind of trees that we like to build houses out of. We can also use these ones, but they're not as good. And as you can see, Canada's just trees galore. So I guess we could cut down our national forests to make 2x4s. But unfortunately, we would actually run out pretty quick. Then we'd have to wait another decade for those trees to grow again so we can harvest. Notably, lumber imports from Russia have increased by over 40%. This lumber comes from forced labor camps in Siberia, where Russia has purchased workers from the North Korean government. So let's break this down. We hurt our relationship with Canada so that we can support the oppression of North Koreans for the benefit of Russia and North Korea's governments, all so that Americans can pay more for soft lumber, and it will cost Americans wanting to build a house 20% more than it would have cost last year.
There's not enough lumber in US. Look at the charts. There's not enough forests in the US to support the need for new housing for the wood. So now they cannot import from Canada. Where are they going to get it? They cannot build wood factories or forests in the US. That's not how wood works. They import from Russia. So Trump puts tariffs on the best friends on Canadian wood and now imports from Russia with more expensive prices. And that money goes to a terrorist state who uses that money to build rockets that destroy Ukrainian cities. We have seen a massive increase of American people in the polls answering that they don't see Russia as an enemy anymore. And some of the internet commentators from forums or in X, whatever you see, I'm from this and this American state and city, and Putin is not my enemy, yada, yada. This is what it looks like. This is usually who is behind that. You can see in the first video a bot farm it's in China. But Prigozhin was running them back in 2016 already, and Prigozhin came out he said from his words that yes, we were meddling with the US elections, we're doing it now, and we're going to do it in the future. Prigozhin said that in 2022. So yeah, these farms are main Russian weapon. You can see another video right here, and this one is from X. You can see the screen is filled with X logos. They're actually making these comments in X, swifting tens of millions of people's opinions, making it look like Europe and US are filled with pro-Russian people. In reality, nobody likes them here. Now, my friends, let's talk about the main fascist dude, Elon Musk. Starlink, one of the greatest assets Ukraine is supposed to have from the United States against the Russians. Elon has threatened many times to shut it off. We're going to shut it off, Starlink, for Ukrainians. Well, now Polish Foreign Minister Sikorski commented on this, saying that Polish Ministry of Digitalization is actually paying for Starlink 50 million a year, and Elon should not be threatening to shut that off. And Elon responded to Sikorski saying, "You're a small man, there is no substitute for Starlink, shut up, small man," right? This gives me and all the Europeans a clear signal. We don't want to buy American anymore. There are threats to shut it off. What next? Threat to shut the F-35 off. Threats to shut the HIMARS off. There are many more weapon systems that we could buy from America in the amount of tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars, pumping that money into the US to get these great weapons. But if there are threats like that from an elected fascist, Elon Musk, who controls one of the greatest assets, right, that we don't want to buy that no more. That directly translates to lost revenue for American military companies, because Europe is a paying customer, a rich paying customer. US could get that money, could get those jobs created to make these weapons for Europe. We don't want them no more because America can switch them off. F-35s, right? Finland and Germany are supposed to receive their planes in the next 10 years. We're talking tens of billions collectively in the orders of F-35s. Both of these countries are raising concerns right now about the kill switch of that plane. It's not a fighter jet, it's a remotely controlled security export. You can switch it off. I'm confused. Everybody's confused. And right now I would say, damn, buy the Saab Gripen, buy European, buy the Mirage 2000, the French jet. By the way, the Mirage 2000 is now in Ukraine, and for the first time about 3 to 4 days ago shot down a Russian cruise missile. So they're actively being used, very good prep for them, being used to destroy Russian missiles in the air. We in Estonia, we bought HIMARS. Everybody's thinking now, what the hell, the country is being led by fascists and we are buying their weapons. They have a kill switch. Putting the puzzle together, it's almost like Europe against Russia and America. It's so weird. And I know if you're watching, I'm alienating America. I don't want to do that. If you're watching, you didn't vote for Trump, you're still for free speech, free press, and freedom and democracy like America has always been for. Welcome, my friends. I'm glad you're here. You're doing a lot just by watching this video, getting it out there. If I say fascist government, I'm talking about the people who elected those fascists to be in power, Trump voters. And how should we treat fascists? Well, here we see two kind of videos how Teslas are being treated right now in the US and in Europe. They're being scratched, they're being painted on. I mean, if you buy a Tesla right now, you're kind of putting money in the pocket of the biggest fascist in the world, which is not Putin, it's actually Elon Musk. And this is how they are treated. Because Tesla sales have plummeted about 60-70% all across Europe in the last year. And you might think, oh, it's nothing, Elon has so many companies. Majority of Elon's personal wealth is from Tesla stock. He lost in the last year $100 billion just because Tesla stock fell about 50% in the last 2-3 months. Because European sales have been dropping. Ever since he made that salute, you know what salute I'm talking about, and no, that wasn't from my heart to go out. That was the real salute, you know, both we know what it was. Tesla stock has been burning, and may it burn to the dust. Don't buy Tesla, don't buy fascist. And now, my friends, going from Elon fascist to another topic, Trump is a Russian asset. I've always wanted to talk about it, but I've been holding myself back. Being afraid of the fallout that follows, a lot of subscribers going away. Well, the pain has been inflicted, as I said, and I showed you already, so I'm so glad I can speak my mind. Trump now is a Russian asset. I feel it, I know it, but in 1987, Trump was a KGB asset working for the USSR. He was a 41 years old broke businessman. Yeah, Trump has been broke many, many times. Not a very good businessman, a lousy businessman, driving his companies to the dirt. So he goes to Moscow. When he comes back, he gets a loan from 16 banks without negotiations, massive loans. And after that, 1987, he comes back from Moscow, he gets those loans and immediately starts buying out massive ads in newspapers and billboards attacking NATO alliance. Coincidence? I mean, he was pushing Russian KGB talking points back then. Now he's exactly pushing Kremlin's talking points. That's not a coincidence. He was a KGB agent, now he's a Russian agent. I mean, think about that. Trump releases a meme coin, Trump coin, right? Russians cannot directly pay him. I mean, everybody will find out. But just take crypto is anonymous. You can anonymously just, you know, the FSB has $2 billion. Just pump it into Trump coin, pumps the price up. Trump sells immediately. Gets billions, he already did. He pocketed like 5 billion from the high of the Trump coin. And then the coin drops and everybody else is losing money. But the thing is, Russians have the ability to pump up that coin wherever Trump needs it. Then Trump can sell again. You can just do that anonymously. Just pay off the American president. That is insane. And why do I really believe Trump is dismantling the United States military and the US-led world order? Well, because he is laying off workers from the United States military production. I mean, it's DOGA, it's Doge, it's the Elon Musk group who is doing that. But they're laying off 1,000 workers from one of the biggest United States ammunition plants. 600 civilian workers from an airport, a military airport. Both of these, plant and airport, have been working from World War II, and now they're laying them off. I mean, laying off those 600 civilian workers from that airport, it's military airfield, sorry, it almost renders that airfield unusable. In my eyes, that is dismantling your military capabilities. Yeah, it's supposed to be saving money, right? But I think they're doing it from places what makes happy Russia and China. If I was a Russian Chinese leader, I'd see United States laying off their work from their ammunition plants. I'd be really happy. Wow, my enemy is not producing ammunition anymore. In fact, they're laying off workers, meaning they will not be producing anytime soon anymore. Time to start a war. Wow. And connected to this topic, time to start a war, we'll jump to European Union. And people saying, oh, Europe is sleepy, Europe is weak, their economy is doing bad. Well, think again, my friends. We have been woken up. The dragon has been woken up. European Union is a massive economy. Massive economy. The military has been very weak, grinded down, because US has been filling that position. Now that Trump is pulling out of that security situation, they're pulling out of Europe also in the future perhaps, somebody has to fill that vacuum. Who will it be? Well, it will be European Union. I'm so glad to say this. Estonia and the Baltics have been wanting this for 30 years. We'll start with Poland. We're going to get to Germany and the whole European Union. First of all, Poland. Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland, announces that Poland will go for nuclear weapons. I'm glad for it. Do it. If we don't get United States nuclear umbrella anymore, we got to build our own. And Poland wants to do it. The Baltics will be under that umbrella. I say go for it. Then Donald Tusk comes out with a statement that Poland will aim to train every last military-aged man in Poland. I mean, altogether, talking over 1 million men, just the reserve army. That makes them immediately, just like that, one of the largest reserve armies in the world. And then Donald Tusk comes out with a statement that they plan to make Polish active military force 500,000 and bigger, which makes them one of the biggest standing armies in Europe in general, plus the biggest reserve army, plus a nuclear power. So they have plans not to deter Russia. They have plans to win a war with Russia if Russia attacks. Not to hold them back or defend. They have plans to win that war. And I'm glad. The Baltics are straight behind Poland. Then it's the EU in general, not only Poland. I mean, this is Ursula von der Leyen. I mean, for Americans, if you don't know, it's just like leader of the European Union Council, pretty much fancy names, right? The point is, she wants to inject 800 billion euros. We're talking almost $1 trillion into European defense companies, defense capabilities in the next 4 years. Check it out. So, United States military spending, let's say it's $1 trillion, right? It's all across the world. They're right now pretty much governing the world militarily. Chinese military spending, what, 500, 600 billion? Smaller than the US, but that is only being spent in that South China Sea and Chinese area. It's very concentrated. US has this trillion all across the world. And that's the same thing with Europe. It's only European area that trillion will be spent only to deter Russia and win a war against Russia. So that will be very effective, very strong, and nobody can say that Europe is sleepy, Europe is weak, Europe is poor. No, we're pumping so much money into defense that in the next 30 years we're going to be leading military production, leading militarily in the whole world. Mark my words, not a joke anymore. What I was talking before about the F-35s, right, Germany and Finland, it's very much connected because Maxar, the United States satellite company, whatever you want to call it, they just stopped sharing their satellite images to Ukraine. And European countries, their military intelligences, foreign intelligences, are using Maxar right now as I speak. Almost every European country orders from Maxar to see orange on the Kremlin parking lot. They have fantastic satellites. You can see everything happening in Russia. If the United States starts switching them off again with the kill switch I mentioned, why should anybody buy? Maxar is making a ton of money right now because European countries are buying. If that starts to happen, Trump starts to just cut these ties, nobody wants to buy anymore, and we shouldn't. It's dangerous to rely on a country that doesn't really want to support you anymore. What Europe must do is put their own satellites in the sky, maybe a unified company all across Europe, substitute for Starlink. I mean, Elon thinks only he can do it. No. European Union can do it also. We haven't had to because there hasn't been a vacuum. Well, now there's a vacuum. We will fill it. Yeah, and substitute for Maxar because like the UK, Germany, France, everybody's ordering from Maxar to see what's happening in Russia. That has to stop. And by our own accord, not because Trump pushes the button saying, no, we don't give that imagery to Europe anymore. And now, okay, I talked about Poland, I talked about European Union. Now let's go to Germany. And I just want to watch this video. You know, we've been talking so much. It's a beautiful video and I want to share it with you.
These are cutting-edge one-way strike drones known as
Sorry, I gotta say, they look exactly like Russian Lancet drones. Perhaps they are a copy of a Russian Lancet drone, but they're made in the European Union, they are German, and they kill good. And you know what's the most beautiful thing? Ukraine will be receiving 6,000 of these from Germany. Great.
X2s, and they are about to start hurting Russian forces. Each precision killer drone has on board artificial intelligence, allowing it to conduct beyond line-of-sight missions up to 62 miles away. German manufacturer Helsing is delivering 6,000 to Ukraine to engage Russian artillery, armor, and other military targets. The HX-2 is immune to electronic warfare. That's because it can search for, re-identify and engage targets even without a signal or a continuous data connection. But these aren't killer robots. The makers point out that a human operator...
Beautiful. I don't want to waste your time on the video anymore, but you just get the idea. This is done right now. This is done before the 800 million injection into European defense companies. I mean, Rheinmetall, the main German military producer company, their stock has been rising in the last 6 months for 100%. You have just doubled your money if you invested 6 months ago. It's the opposite case for the United States defense companies ever since Trump took office, because nobody wants to buy from fascists. You're a European Union, you're leading in press freedom, freedom of speech, living standards in the Europe. You don't want to buy your weapons from fascists. Now, I would love for America to elect a democratic leader again. I have grown up admiring the United States defensive capabilities, military capabilities, and I was so proud when we in Estonia bought the HIMARS. I was so proud when the Finnish bought the F-35. But now the country is led by fascists, and they can control the weapons we have. This is bad. We will change the situation, and this will result in losses of hundreds of billions taken away from orders from United States defense companies. And these hundreds of billions will be poured into European defense companies. Good for us, bad for them, and this is made not by us, but by Trump. And I will end this video with Germany again. I mean, Scholz was leading Germany without balls. He was a very sleepy man. He was afraid of his own shadow. Now Germany has a new leader, and I cannot believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe Polish are saying this, but we're all saying to Germany, come on, my friend, arm yourself, do it again, I dare you. We need a military renaissance in Europe, and Germany is leading the way with Poland close behind, and also then the Baltics, because our defense spending in Estonia right now is, if I'm not mistaken, 3.5%. Poland is 4.5%, and we in Estonia, we're going to go to close to 5%. We're not playing around. We don't want to deter Russia. We want to win a war against Russia. Well, Germany is now creating a 500 billion euros infrastructure fund in a technique spending shift to revamp the military and revive growth in Europe's largest economy. German economy has been tanking ever since they lost the Russian gas. This is a way to bring the economy back up. You can start exporting military production because everybody wants to buy in Europe right now. Everybody. 800 billion will be poured just to buy weapons. Germany is one of the biggest producers of weapons. So they have a way to boost their economy, and they're afraid of it. They're afraid of the past, but right now, I can't believe, I just wanted to quote Batman, you know, they're the hero we deserve. We kind of need them right now. We need Germany to wake up, to carry their own weight, to not be afraid of themselves. Germans are afraid, and I understand the reason. We saw it was really bad. But right now, we gotta put that behind us. And Germany needs to become the new leader of the free world, starting from Europe. Europe in general will be the leader in the world of democracy and press freedom, because the United States is going away with that. And Germany will be in the center of it, followed by Poland. And in the future, with Ukraine. This is it, my friends. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And if you're from America and you're still watching this video, I'm really proud about you. I'm really grateful for you. I know it's hard in your country. I still have faith that in 4 years there will be an election with different results. My friends, if you like what I do, become a monthly member of Buy Me a Coffee. I'll be sending out to you a Rehi patch. I'll be answering your messages there, and I'll be butchering your name in every video. Next video will be on Wednesday, so be sure to be back. Until then, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.